badass bitch.
Go!
We got 6 different short stories. I believe they are canon to the manga, so someone fact check me on that. And we have short stories here with some of the favorite characters that we have come to know and love in season 1 of Dorohedoro, where we get Shin, Noi, and of course Nikaido, and so much more. Before we begin with this, I'm going to go ahead and say I am going to give my thoughts and spoilers on all the episodes, so if you haven't watched them, go ahead and watch those first, then come back here for this video review. Now, anyway, I have to say my favorite episode, without a doubt, it's gonna be a tough one. It's either the Gyoza Fairy or episode 5 with the evil dancing Masquerade Ball. I gotta say the Gyoza Fairy is without a doubt the most hilarious episode, because who would have thought there was a Gyoza Fairy? And if there's a Gyoza Fairy in your shop, then you know you're in good hands, because he's gonna do everything to respect and give customers the best gyoza experience. He has no mercy for those who mistreat gyoza. And you know what's really fascinating with this story is that no one can really see him, sorcerers and humans alike, right? But for whatever reason, it seems like the devil can look at him, which is very fascinating. Just how powerful are devils? We've known in season 1 of Dorohedoro that, you know, you have your humans, you have your sorcerers, and then you have your devils. And how wide or short is that power level gap? I'm not too entirely sure, but if you can see that even a devil can look at a Gyoza Fairy, so then maybe I'm concluding here that devils are really more special in terms of abilities and strength after all. So I'm curious to know what you guys think about that. I do like the moment where the Gyoza Fairy is just, you know, brushing the fan, because he's like, you know what, Nikaido definitely deserves a rest. He's the size of a beer can, and then we see some stuffing come out because we can't have some minor grotesque stuff if it isn't Dorohedoro. So I really like that. Now on to the Masquerade Ball, which was episode 5 in this OVA. I really like this episode because lo and behold, we get the face reveal of Shota and En confirmed. Now, how many people were thinking, oh, that's what Shota looked like behind the mask? I didn't predict that at all. And the same thing with En. Now, listen, was there maybe going to be a grotesque scar or something deformed with En? But I'm glad we got that face reveal nevertheless. And you got to give it up for En, because as we've come to know and love with Dorohedoro, there's not really one particular bad guy here, right? Everyone has their motives, but I can't really say one person is instinctively evil. In any case, in this OVA, I love more character development we get with En. He's a very confident man, fellas. So listen, it's very easy. If you just ever want to approach a girl, you just simply ask, hey, I think you're very beautiful. Would you like to dance with me? Sure, there you go, right? And then he's doing his wacky and zany dance, which I thought was a lot of fun and really funny. And I also really like too just how elaborate and, you know, ludicrous those outfits look like too, because in this Masquerade Ball, if you aren't dancing with an attractive woman and having the time of your life, a devil's gonna come with their trident and pinch you in the ass. Yes, I just said that because this is Dorohedoro, and how crazy is that? So while Shin is trying to figure out, or just trying to find a girl to dance with, Shota's like, hey, you know, you should probably dance with this girl right here. She's been by herself the whole time. And then look at that, we see Noi for just a second, and before she became buff Noi, right? Which, hey, I know a lot of people like, you know, I like the girl who's fit too, but this Noi right here, ooh la la, hubba hubba. Did you see how fine Noi looked in this episode? And look at Shin blushing too, where he's like, man, it was 10 years ago. I almost forgot what this girl's face looks like. And well, if anything, I hope she's here 10 years later. And when he come to find out that Noi was in fact the girl from 10 years ago, Shin ship with Noi, come on, I know we all want to see that relationship happen, and I hope it blossoms into something more beautiful. So I really like the characterizations and backstories that we got with those episodes specifically. Another highlight episode, of course, is where Nikaido got her gyoza shop to begin with, right? And she met this dessert and sweet owner, and he was giving a lot of business to sorcerers, of course, because, well, at the end of the day, when sorcerers were done experimenting on humans, they all had to come and have their tea and desserts, of course. Unfortunately, the shop was closed down, but the shop owner did tell Nikaido that, hey, you know what? If there's anyone that I want to run a store, hey, the keys to the castle are yours, and here you go. Now, very sweet and simple episode, but something I wanted to note was the person who was at that dessert and sweet shop. A lot of the times when Nikaido was there with the owner was this guy who was a devil. Now, feel like I saw him in season 1 of Dorohedoro, this devil at the tea and coffee shop. Can someone confirm it to me? Is he someone special? Because I think we've seen him before, so I'm curious to know what you guys think about that as well. Ibizu's episode with trying to take a picture with the family, I also thought that was a lot of fun. And Ibizu, although we don't get that much screen time with her and Kaiman, and we'll get to him in a little bit, she's still doing her Ibizu tactics and mannerisms, and I really love that too, where, hey, N is like, God, N is a bit mean sometimes, where he's like, no, you're not part of the family, but go ahead and take this family with a bunch of low-level tiers. And of course, Fujita is there as well. I think really the only episode I wasn't too fond of was actually the first one, which was called Mass Disparities, that it starred Fujita, and maybe go figure because it starred Fujita. There wasn't really much happening right there. Well, there was some stuff happening with, you know, how the masks were made and how they were handed to people, right? You got to give the devil a gift, etc., etc. But I thought that one was okay. I personally think that was the weakest. I wasn't too crazy about that one. And of course, the OVA ends with Nikaido and Kaiman figuring out how to make gyoza for the first time, and I felt like that was just an amazing nod and wink to the audience, where, you know, they really showed just how amazing and delicious gyoza is so much, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so amazing. And now for people who are actually curious to know how to make gyoza, you have all the ingredients right there, and I don't even think it's just basic gyoza. I think it's fantastic gyoza. So for anyone who actually goes ahead and watches the final OVA on how to make gyoza, let me know in the comments down below. Did you try it and was it delicious? And nevertheless, the OVA, I think the only person who got shafted was, well, lo and behold, Kaiman. And why was he shafted from this? I don't know. I think some people might be disappointed because of it, but personally, I personally like more of the character backstory that we got with Shin and Noi on top of N and Shota, someone I didn't even really care that much about, and the Gyoza Fairy by far. So if I had to pick, I think I'm gonna say the Gyoza Fairy was my favorite episode, followed by the Masquerade Ball right there with the second place. But guys, for people who have watched the OVA, what did you think about it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments down below.